Hi, this is Joseph Cobbs again. We're assessing Standard 8, and this is again with content learning, and we're trying to see if I vary my role as an instructor, also as an observer and a coach, and someone who's assist on the side, and to see if while I'm doing the teaching, if I'm actually changing my instruction based upon how the kids are learning and what they're not getting. And those are the things that I'm working on in this video. And Rick here is going to talk about how I did in the teaching video while I was doing a lab, a pulse lab. And he's going to talk about the things that he saw and the things that I need to improve upon in helping the students to learn.
Okay. As usual, you're very engaging. You're not just sort of standing back and sort of watching, but you're actively involved with the students. And actually, as I couldn't ask for more on that. It's part of your nature, I think, to interact anyway. It's not doesn't come.
Yeah, later in the video I didn't show you, but I was jogging with them too.
Yeah. I did some of that too with them. Yeah.
Checking my pulse.
But no, it comes very natural for you to engage and want to engage, and so I mean that's a very strong point that you have, not just in classrooms but anywhere. But yeah, I mean the Pulse Lab, you're going around to the different groups. Each group you're spending a lot of time with, and so they're all there, hearing what you're saying. They're all responding to your questions. You're posing questions that are very good and high level. They are, so you can't, as far as they're all busy. They're all working on the lab.
Mm-hmm.
But the other ones that aren't being talked to at the moment. So there's enough to keep them busy, enough to keep them going, and at the same time, you're asking them why you're doing this, and what do you expect to happen if this happens, make predictions. And, so very, very good, excellent, engaging, and as you're acting in different ways. Sometimes you'll just wait and see, and then I encourage you to do more of that. I do it probably too much, but being the audience and letting them have time. So I call it, what did I say? Pause. Pace and pause.
Pace and pause, right?
We have an organization called Claws and Pause,
yes.
But that's different.
That's different.
That's for dogs and cats, yeah. But this is Pace and Pause. It's a new organization we're forming, so that the pace, sometimes your words come out quickly, and then you're expecting a response, and maybe a little of that sort of takes time for them to process.
Mm-hmm.
So either slow the pace of the words coming out, or just somehow to back off that immediate response requirement there. That they feel the need to immediately respond, but they're immediately respond, but they're still processing.
Yeah, so I need to give more time for them to process.
So as you speak, you tend to just bing, 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 and then that's on them. And then so they're under the pressure to try and come up with an answer, or they feel that way, I think, maybe. But they're still processing. So anything that can slow that down just a touch for them. And also, again, using pauses and just to say, hey, you did your part, you said your part, now what do you make of that? Give them time to make sense of it and talk amongst themselves and bat it around. And then you guide them when they have a slightly get off direction.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right on top of that. So you redirect them. Say, well, what about this? What about that? Did you forget about this? So it's all works very nicely.
I think I could have, when a student is getting off track and she's trying to explain what's happening, the physiology, perhaps it'd be better if I would turn to one of the other students and say, what do you think about what she said?
Yeah.
Do you think that's right, or can you improve upon that or change it, or is there anything that's left out?
Yeah.
And then I could gauge the whole group rather than focus on one student at a time and then going back to this. I mean, I was engaging two a couple times, but I think I could have engaged 3 or 4 people better if I could have, asked another type of Socratic question about their response, the student's response.
Yeah. I think some people respond to being on the hot spot better than others. Like
Mhm.
Theory is like kind of retiring, shy. She puts up a paper to cover her face.
Yeah,
And she doesn't like to be the center.
but she knows the information.
Yeah, oh yeah. But the other girl is just very comfortable within herself,
Yeah.
and it doesn't seem to phase her one bit. But so different reactions. So when you get somebody that's on the spot, to recognize, well, they're having trouble thinking and processing because they're putting pressure on themselves. And like you said, if you ask the other person, what do you think of what, that takes the spotlight from the one that's having the,
Yeah. Then the other person can respond, and then the person who had the spotlight can think more.
Yes, exactly.
And she can say, "Oh, yeah, I forgot about this."
Exactly. Yes.
So that's a good idea. Taking the pressure off one student, kind of putting it on another, so that student can think more clearly without being in the spotlight,
right.
and come up with more things and process more while the other one's thinking. While the other one's responding, the other student's also thinking. So they're both interacting,
Right.
and kind of scaffolding a little bit to help them come up with the answer.
Yeah.
So that's a good.
So yeah, when you first have the spotlight on one person, assuming you've got one person picked out,
Yeah.
And there's like 5. There's other people off camera that are there. But
Yeah.
they're not in the spotlight. So,
Yeah.
so they may feel free to think, but at the same time, they're also probably not as pressed to come up with an answer. So they may be less efficient about coming up with an answer. They're sort of like circling around or whatever. They may or may not be focused as well as the person who's on the spotlight. So there's a certain amount of, a little bit of pressure is a good thing. But like you say, once you can see that someone's kind of stuck, to pass to somebody else, and that other person has had the time to, sort of think about it
Without the pressure.
and then maybe they can help. And so yeah, I think that's all good.
Oh, excellent suggestion. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I've actually been reading for the next video that I'm going to make, and that one talks about professional development. And because we have a break now, and with the timing, I can't go to a seminar or fly somewhere to do that. So I've been reading a book on ELL, and the pausing and stuff is one of the strategies I'm going to use in the next video.
Yeah.
Because I've been reading about that in a book on English language learners and strategies to help them do better in school.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be using that in the next one. So, and the other day it was really nice. I got to observe Mr. Rick teaching a class, and he was master at the pace and the pause, which I'm still struggling with. And I got to observe him in action, and I think his students are getting it maybe easier the first time than mine because of his pace and pause technique. So that's what I'm going to be working on these next couple weeks.
Yeah, and just recognize that your style
Mm-hmm.
is like sort of requiring an immediate response. It's like da-da-da-da-da, and then you put it around them.
Yeah.
It's almost like they need that time.
I think I've been to too many seminars where the pace is so fast and the physiology is so fast that we're all boom, boom, boom. It's all doctors in the seminar. We're all going really fast.
Yeah.
And the instructor's brilliant. He's got 10 PhDs and he's going really fast.
Well, that's great for that.
It's great for that level, but
Audience,
not
yeah.
here at 10th grade level.
and second language.
Second language.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my big challenge, working on pace and pause. So
Yeah.
that's what we're going. Okay. Well, thank
Very
you
good.
for your
Excellent.
input. I appreciate it. And I'm going to work on that in the next video.
All right.
Okay. Over for now.